what's going on? It is Ade and
Veronica.
hey, we're here in Mexico. Where are we in Mexico, babe?
Actually, we are in Cuatro Ciénegas, Coahuila, Mexico,
Coahuila, Mexico.
which is about 3 hours or 4 hours outside of Monterrey, that everyone knows, the
And
mountainside in Mexico.
it is beautiful out here. You can hear the birds. We had a great experience. It's Sunday now. We've been here since Thursday.
Yeah.
We have some guests. Our first guest.
So this is our B12 yoga self-care retreat, affectionately known as Sanctuary of the Soul, Santuario del Alma. And we're here practicing self-care and taking in all of the beautiful elements here in the mountains of Mexico.
Perfect.
So we're doing a check-in. No?
Say your name, where you from, what you doing out here, how long you been sober. I'm just joking.
well, listen. As soon as we get back, the intention is.
Okay, perfect.
So, Leanne, I'll let you go. Why don't you just do your name, where you from, and your check-in for today?
Okay, so my name is Leanne. I live in Dallas currently, born in Austin. My check-in is being able to leave here more connected than when I arrived originally. I feel a lot closer to myself. One of my goals here was to get closer mentally, spiritually, physically, and I do feel like I did check all three of those while I was here. So I'm happy to have that experience.
Pass the word.
Hello from yesterday. That's awesome. My name is Ana Christa. I am soy de la tierra de Oak Cliff, but my people, my grandfather's 3 hours. He's 3 hours, I think, west of here from a small town, Nava, outside of Piedras Negras. So for me, this trip was so much about connecting to myself, my emotions, my ancestors, and the beautiful land that we come from. So I think for me, though, my actual check-in is a newfound respect for elements and different kind of elements, down to the elements of the earth that we learned about over the weekend: fire, wind, air, and water, but the elements of self and friendships and relationships and ancestors. Like, I have a new found respect for life, period. That's my check-in.
That was beautiful. Beautiful, Leanne. My name is Ade, of course. Y'all know who I am. My check in is awareness and also um, being courageous and just feeling a sense of worthiness. I continue to pump that to self. So being here allowed me to recognize that and touch that even more. It just let me know I'm in the going the right direction. And so it's just being 10 toes down within that. Pass the word.
Thank you. I love it because I feel like, although we all had different intentions coming in to the trip, for me, I really had the alignment when we had our experience with the shaman, but also even when you're saying 10 toes down, grounding. As soon as we were even the hiking, everything has been an opportunity to ground here. And it's crazy because it feels like the earth is receiving you when you're grounding in, even from the campfire the first night. Like, I can go through the itinerary, but for me, my check-in was this trip was really about my relationship with my mother and the mother's womb, and everything kind of led to that, me grounding down and acceptance and perhaps even the surrender for me. So I love it. It's my second time here, and it was a totally different experience, obviously, because I had people that I love and care about, but also I was really just honing in on my own experience without having to worry about if everyone else was having their experience. It was awesome.
Give me one word of just your experience being here. Shout out to Hacienda 1800 while we
Yes,
here.
Hacienda 1800. What an experience
Man, come
built.
on.
My
So
one
nice.
word, I would say, this word just keeps coming to me. It's alignment. Just alignment. It's always the alignment of where everything is connected. And I felt like that's my word, alignment. I pass the word to you, Leanne.
Thank you, Hanukkah. So for me, my word would be gratitude. I feel that the moment I got here, I immediately felt and I was becoming more and more humble, taking little things that we don't realize are such a big blessing. Just even being around, the people that you care about the most, all in one, and being away disconnected, is also one thing for me. That word felt, because we're always just so into our phones, into social media. We're here, but mentally we're somewhere else. So to be mentally present and here, to really take in all the experiences and all the different messages I received from just everything was really just a good blessing, and just made the trip just even more than I thought it would be. I passed the word.
Thank you. I think for me, the word for me is sacred. Like it's a sacredness being here. You're surrounded by like the mountains, by the elements, surrounded by good friends, some of my favorite people on the planet. I'm so grateful and blessed to be able to do that here with all of you. But I think that the sacredness of tuning into self, to tuning into nature, the experiences that we've had here that drive you outside of your comfort zone with the light hike slash rock climbing experience that we had yesterday, down to the shaman
Oh my
experience when
god.
we were, realigning there. I think that this immersion into nature and the sacredness that the earth has for us reminds us like we need to trust it, that it has our back. Like literally, you had my back on the hike. It's just a reminder, I think, from God and the universe that we're surrounded by more beautiful things than we think. So the problems that we have every day, the obstacles or challenges that we encounter are part of the process, and there's beauty on the other side. You just kind of have to trust that you're surrounded. And so for me, that there's a sacredness in that. So I'm just grateful. I pass on to you, Ade.
Perfect. Like we passing the
Ten toes down.
man. Listen,
It's in
we
community.
will get into that later. I feel present, and I keep saying that because you know, being human, that our nature is to be creative, and if I'm being creative, then I feel present, and so I feel being out here, we're being creative in our spirits, we're being creative in our breath, we're being creative in connection because we're building these brain waves as we continue to communicate amongst each other. And like the shaman said, it's not communication through just, words or being vocal, but it's our skin, it's our the message within, so that's where I'm more bring more present there. And it's beautiful. I mean, ultimately, I pass the word.
I love the design of. I think our intention of setting up this retreat was always about 10 toes down and grounding down and kind of really understanding of holding your own space. But when you come here, you realize, oh, we're all holding space and we're all connected. The journey from the marble mines too is mind blowing. That we were last night from the origins dinner and really identifying how as a human we forget that we have these powers of fire, wind, and water and earth in our hearts. um and just being out in the seeing the full moon, and it's like there's alignment everywhere. And I even brought, like, even if it wasn't a full moon, if it was a crescent moon or whatever, it was still all aligned. And even before I even came on the plane, I had heard and I had shared with Anna about where we're at is already something with it we had arranged already to be. So we already had pre ordered this in a way. And so when I was in every space of our experience, I was thinking, oh, I already had pre ordered and pre manifested this experience. So let me just enjoy the sort of the fruits of the labor, I guess I should say, but also be intentional of what I want my next arrival to be, what I can pre order or kind of pre agree upon in my assignment to have a day from now, a month from now, a year from now, or several years from now. I thought that was pretty special. I want to ask a question for you guys too, in a sense, to the sadness that comes with it as well, right? Because there's also a sadness. And I think being 10 toes down is being vulnerable. Like, can you share maybe something sad that when you got here too, right? Like that brought you like, whoa, was there a resistance to it or sadness? Like, wow, I never discovered it. Whatever that is for you, and to share maybe the opposite, not just the joy of it all. I pass the word.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I guess a word that would come to mind for me about sadness or how I feel about that, abandonment. And I felt like just through life, it was I wasn't didn't have the best relationship, the closest relationship with my mom. So this is also kind of the same with you. Came here with an intention to like just figure that out a little bit more. But it brings me happiness to know though, because I get emotional.
It's okay. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna cry. We're gonna talk about each other. It's fun.
But it does bring me happiness to know that even though she's physically not here, I know that she is always spiritually here, even in my dreams, in my pictures, just everything. It just feels good to know that I can walk away and not feel so much heaviness. It's good to be able to release some of that and feel lighter walking away.
That's
Pass the
beautiful.
word.
Yeah, the sadness of leaving your old self too, right? There's like, oh, that when we did that ritual of the paper.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for me, the sadness was acknowledgement of there was a song that you played that we always, that I love that the intro of that Lagrima song, right? And so when we played it as we left the shaman's experience, it really made me think why it brings me so much joy. And it was a song that reminds me of a family cookout, like a couple of family cookouts we would have over the summer, right? So it reminded me of my ancestors. And again, how precious this life is. So it's a very bittersweet moment. Like Leanne mentioned, like there was a sadness, but then there's also that breakthrough, right? And that's what we were talking about this morning is I feel like another message within this trip is there's beauty in the breakthrough, right? When you come outside of your comfort zone and like um the quote that was there as we entered the mines that said that you have to go through it. You know what I
The
mean?
only way out is to go
The only way out is to go through, and that is so true. Like you have to like
Write that
stand up
down.
10 toes down,
Y'all need to
right?
write that down.
And
If
your
you
experience is your whole experience, right? It's not just a matter of like what's the pretty part at the end of the movie, the Instagrammable, picture or whatever. It's the pain, the beauty and the pain that you go through to get there. um and so for me there was that sadness, but there's also a joy at the end, and I'm grateful that I can experience both and that I'm aware enough to know the the beauty of both messages. That makes sense. I'm gonna pass that on to you, Ade.
This episode has been brought to you by V12 Yoga. Whenever you feel like you want to slap out of somebody or you need to find some peace, head over to v12yoga.com, book your class so you can find peace within self. Self care is the best care, so make sure you follow V12 Yoga on all social media platforms. Check them out whenever you're in the city or you're flying into Texas, Dallas, Texas, that is. V12 Yoga. Yes, absolutely.
Even if it comes off
Um, my word would be forgiveness. Um, and the sad part of that is, like, I always want to forgive myself just for going through all kind of, putting myself through all those things. And it's really not sad. It's a way of letting go.
yeah.
And because, if you continue to tell yourself, well, faith is believing and believing. Well, how do you do that? Exposing yourself to great mantras. It's the thought. repetition is the father of learning. So then, if you're constantly forgiving yourself, then you're constantly releasing. And so that's what was my one word, because in moments like this, you know, they're so beautiful. If we misguide them with a notion of, this is a come and go, then you will never find out, are you present, abandonment, you know, releasing, forgiveness. So, that was it wasn't sad, but I guess it was in a way, but like a brief moment,
Right.
you know? Um, and I think that comes with maturity too. So,
Yeah.
you know.
The other thing I really wanted to dive into was impactful was the when he asked us what we thought medicine was. All of us had like this when the shaman in our experience with the Talamescal and the Tacha experience, he was like, "What is medicine?" And we were all like, kind of giving our new age word for medicine, like we were really enlightened. And we said medicine is a process, and you're like, never thought of it like that. And then it also gave you a sort of a it made me feel like I had a superpower now, because I kind of felt like medicine is a process, then I can handle this, right? It kind of shifted my entire perspective of medicine's a process, life's a process. And it got really tough in that experience with the humidity. I mean, it was wild. Do you want to talk about when he said that to you, what your thought was like, wow, the medicine sort of perspective? Pass the word to you.
Oh my god. So for me, it was really interesting whenever he did ask that, because I feel like my answer was totally not at all what he was really trying to explain. Um, but it made me realize how powerful our mind is, our body is, how powerful we are to ourselves, and to bring ourselves to a healing, to heal. And I feel like it's every aspect. People who struggle, I struggle with anxiety, things like that, mentally, and physically, just everything. It's it's a different way to look, but an amazing way to look at it, to realize how powerful and our bodies can do for us. And even just something simple as water, we don't think about that, how much water we should have, how much water we're intaking. And even the sweat part of it was what really got me, because I can't do 5 minutes in a sauna, and we were in there for 40 minutes. So if you can imagine the mental going back and forth I was having with myself, I really was like, I got to get through this. There's no way I'm gonna not. So that also showed me how powerful we are mentally, especially in those moments of struggle, when you really want to just quit, when you really want to just walk out, give up, say, I quit, I'm done. And then to get past that and to realize you actually did it, like you can do it.
I got
So
it funny.
it's just amazing. I pass the word.
I looked over at Leanne.
I think we were all looking at each other.
Oh,
We were
man.
all like,
Hey, I know this is a great moment, but I gotta add this. And Leanne, and one thing, we're out here with my mother-in-law. I mean, my mother and my father. My dad over there journaling, and my mother over here. And I looked at Leanne face, and I look at Margaret.
It was a struggle.
A
struggle.
I look over at Margaret. I said to myself, boy, you better G up. You better G up, boy. Because I was over here like
We all got tested.
And it was a process, though. I would just want to bring it back to that medicine. It was a process. So we were all going through our process, And so it was just a beautiful thing. I was
Go ahead, Anna. No, go ahead.
no, what was funny about that is I was telling Veronica and everyone, I was like, it's crazy that as we exited the experience and you get into the desert, it's like it felt cool outside. So for the desert to be cold was crazy. That's how hot it was, right? It was like steaming in there. But again, I say that I feel like we were being prepared for that with our daily saunas, right?
Awesome.
I think for me, when it comes to the medicine piece, which was a very powerful moment, so it did make me realize like the power in that, but the responsibility of that, right? And what does that responsibility look like? Like for me is making sure you're a good steward of that responsibility, and making sure that you're doing whatever you have to do that. So it includes moments like this, right? A self-care weekend, and kind of recharge and reset and take care of yourself, so that you are being that good medicine to people, so that you are giving the hugs, and there's a power in the tongue, right?
Yeah.
To remind everyone that um, just to remind everyone, right, that life can be hard and it can be challenging, but I just want to make sure that everyone, that when you speaking, right, you want to make sure that you're speaking life into people. And so that's why I think moments like this weekend are so powerful.
Thank you. I also, for me, when he said we are medicine, I think I came here with a little bit of mindset about how I was exhausted, because I felt like I was sharing a lot of light, and I felt like a lot of people were sort of wanting that light. It's really powerful. And I was feeling like, man, all of a sudden I felt like everyone kept asking me for things because of what we do for a living or whatever. But when he said that, I was like, oh, it's because I have medicine. And so I have a responsibility. And thank you for closing that gap for me, because I thought I have a responsibility to be light. Like I should be the light, because there's a lot of darkness. And don't look at it like, because I was like, man, why do I always have to be the light? And it's like, if I continue to do that, then light will shine back, instead of having like, why isn't everybody in the light mode, like, or whatever, right? I get frustrated. Like, why isn't everybody's light turned on
over here?
Why is it so dark over here? But it's medicine that we're passing on to each other in that same sense. So that was awesome. Another thing I want to talk about was the Genesis project. Not knowing this even ahead of time, how the original bacteria of life, the creation of life, we got to experience that story about Genesis and how it was found here, and how life was created through that bacteria, through Luca, our real ancestor, which was a magical conversation, and the connection of what's here and actually Cuatro Ciénegas. I know this guy's going to light up about that. It's like when oh my God, you finally are hearing the story of how life was actually created, and it's here in this space, was another wow moment. Pass the word.
I second that moment. I second that, because just over time studying and or understanding different processes, evolution, Christianity, just whatever type of religion, the Islamic faith, you start to find out that there's an outline there, and it's a beautiful outline because it connects every living thing in the world, especially the consciousness of the human being. So then if we start to understand that one thing, I think it'll help with being non-judgmental across the board. But that's something else deeper. The reason why I love the Luca and the um, unicellular development is because I've been telling my wife this this whole time.
It was his way to say,
We need to give him a t-shirt that says best.
You didn't listen to
Oh man!
me. You feel like he got a point on me.
My God!
He was like,
Can-
slammed up.
But
No neck.
you remember that movie Millionaire, Slumdog Millionaire?
Yes.
I have those moments, and when I have those moments, because I was in a dark place when I found that information out, and to circle all the way back to where this information is present. If you see this man just walk up real slow, bow leg, just don't give a damn. That's my father. That is the creator. He is the OG of everybody.
He
Anyway.
definitely outdid us in the tent.
Oh man,
I mean, he
listen.
did not.
He sat in there
Didn't waver.
and didn't move. Just
He was like, tricks are for kids. Like, he is like, been there, done that. Where you're coming from, I've been.
I told Ade he looked like Rafiki and like
It's
it.
just-
And I was like, Pappy is he's
When
tuned
he saw
in,
his
turned
fingers,
up,
like,
and
Wow,
turned
man.
in.
over, and he wasn't even
He's tuned
receiving. He was
in.
like OG receiving.
like
Like
easy.
Abraham Hicks said, you turned on, tuned in, and
Yeah, he was ready to
His
go.
iron rod was connected to it. Straight up.
And my father's been doing this. That's why. That's a blessing to, second that motion of he has been pouring into us with these small little things for years, and to come all the way back around to see that as an adult,
a
man,
gift.
bring just tears. It's so many times I teared up just looking at my dad right there.
And we got to witness that too. It was special.
Yeah. You know.
Do you want to talk about the? Thank you. The belly of the Virgin Mary, the mountains. Our first night, the belly, the womb. Again, the shaman mentioned the womb. Like everything is about the darkness in the womb, and I think it was. There's so much symbolism with this trip, and you're like, when we were at our first night on the racers, which was scary and crazy. I thought we were gonna fall over. But hold on, I'm gonna pass it to
Dusty
her.
Dan.
Okay. And so the actual mountainside is the belly of the. They reference that as the belly of the Virgin Mary, and how we were in the belly all weekend almost, right? Because the thing you want to talk about that experience at the campfire and that
Yes.
hit you different.
So alignment, you're right with that. I just feel like everything that we did experience was aligned. It just every night continued to show us why, just continue to prove why you're in the path you're in, you're in the lane you're going, why we're here basically. um and then just to think back, to sit back and really think about, the mother of the womb, where everything begins, where everything starts, where the craziest creation is created. Like nothing else can do that but, a woman. And so just to realize where we come from. I know the shaman talked about, how we have our ancestors, our grandfathers, grandmothers smile, thinking that is just how that continues. We are continuing not just like a legacy, or our generation, our people, your people. So just that, to see that, to really sit down and just think about, where we come from and who we really are. We aren't what we wear, we aren't what we look like. It's different. It's really from the inside. And so that was just an amazing outlook to get from the whole experience.
Anna, you want to talk about the scientist that
Yeah.
that she was like a
She was next level on that documentary. So
Yeah.
so when we were at, what was it, Genesis? There, and they were showing the documentary, and she's talking about how sacred this unique valley is. And then she also talked, what I thought was so powerful is the work that we do right in Dallas. Is like the responsibility that comes with that, to pay it forward for the future, right? And with the responsibility we have to tell the stories, share the history, and make sure that we're holding things sacred that are supposed to be held sacred. And so for me, that was a powerful moment. Another powerful moment there was when he talked about the the power of the sun and the elements of the sun, and then the Big Bang theory, to remind us that we're all made of, like, we're all literally stars, right? We're made of stardust.
Mere
And so,
dust.
yes, mere dust. And so it was like you said, mere dust brought us back to not only the power that you have, that you are a star, but on top of being a star, the humbleness that comes with it as well, which is we're mere stardust. Like when
Yeah.
you come here, and you're enveloped by these mountains, and you're enveloped by all the nature, the birds chirping, everything around here. And there was a powerful moment when the instructor, or the tour guide, showed us a little like rock in his hand, and he said, "This is basically you in the universe." And so for me, that was a very powerful moment, to know that how the vastness of who we are, right? As well as like how small we are in the universe. It was just very humbling at the same time.
Yeah.
So beautiful moment.
awesome.
That was beautiful.
The scientist said that I would like to ask for your permission to accept the future. And so even then she was humble, not telling you need to accept the future, you need to just accept what is. She was like, I'm asking for your permission. So in the most humble, most humbling way, like accept it for what it is. But also I need to say this because they have all a mission, and you can see that all in the service. They have a project that's by 2040, they want to make sure that every child that is born here in Cuatro Ciénegas has a future in education that they don't have to worry about. So even the server, the shaman, the scientist, everybody in this entire city knows their plan. They know why they're here. And they're all creating a space, creating these experiences because they all know it's a 2040 plan. So they are all aligned with why their mission is to keep the lineage of what's happening. It's magical. It's powerful.
They're being 10 toes down.
10 toes down. They have an intention
Yeah, they have an intention. They're
and a
set.
plan.
the whole town is rooted
Yes.
in intention of the future and letting people know that the creation, it's still here. That's ultimately what they're saying. That he said 70 million years ago, that's when the dinosaurs were there. Then he said this happened before that.
Right.
So he said they have, pretty much narrowed it down to what organism has, well, started the creation of different organisms. And it's still here in its primitive mode. What?
And nobody has their own agenda. Everyone is like aligned and they're like, this is our plan. And imagine the community comes with that, the vulnerability, the power, the ego stays out of it. It's like if we can do that in our own little families and circles and ecosystems, especially in the United States with how everything's going, if everyone just had a unified North Star, everyone falls in line and it's beautiful. The peace that comes with it too.
It's the movement. So for me, like, and we talk about like the Hey Chica movement, right? It's just similar. It's just, there's so much power in the collective, and that's what I love about our people, right? Is that we are very much a we over me collective, and so to see everyone again owning, standing 10 toes down, right, and their power of their small town, the small space that they take a part of in the universe, and to stand 10 toes down on like we believe in what we're here for. We have a power in what we know and what we own, and we're gonna pay it forward to the future. That is a total Cuatro Ciénegas drop, mic drop, right? Like that is so powerful.
So we need to wrap this up because we got to get back on a bus back to the airport.
This episode has been brought to you by V12 Yoga. Whenever you feel like you want to slap out of somebody or you need to find some peace, head over to v12yoga.com, book your class so you can find peace within self. Self-care is the best care. So make sure you follow V12 Yoga on all social media platforms. Check them out whenever you're in the city or you're flying into Texas, Dallas, Texas, that is. V12 Yoga.